It's empty. So if some persons, we know that so many people knew quite well that some persons are not strong to hold a position, they tend to look sideways, not to be the bad book of some persons. But some persons who are bold to say, you are not, should you condemn these people?
Okay. Chipari, I want to react on this too.
Well, you see, basically, when you talk about the principle of democracy, it touches on all this. When you hear the word free and fair election, it goes along, it summarizes it all. There has to be freedom, there has to be fairness. While I agree that, like I told you, I'm a friend of the pirates. While I agree that the pirate has a right to sing whatever song they intend to highlight the points, the critical points in an election cycle like this, I think that it should be fair in the sense that it will touch on the shortcomings of each of the critical candidates in an election, so that it doesn't appear as if one candidate is isolated. Because the Pirate Organization is a very powerful organization. And the message that the rival candidates would be taking home is that the pirate is for us and it's against the other person. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that when you are talking about fairness, you are talking about distribution, equal distribution of whatever benefit, entitlement, and criticism that you are levying against a group of people. So all candidates should get approximately equal quantum of criticism. I don't think there's any candidate in this election that is perfect. Each of the candidates comes with his or her own baggage. And you find that while I agree that health is a critical component, I also think that the message that each candidate is putting before Nigerians, for example, a candidate has told Nigerians that he will move Nigeria from a consumption country to a production country.
For some persons, I've quickly fact-checked the candidate who said that
Yes.
in his line of business,
Yes.
he imports as basic things such as fruits and oranges
So
from outside Nigeria.
that's where I was going to.
So-
That's where I was going to. You see, pirates and the press, they occupy that spectrum called the fourth estate of the realm. They are supposed to be the watchdog of the society. So when is the jingle against Obi coming? I like that jingle that they did against Tinubu, by the way. Baba we know where they shouted me look on. You know, beautiful. But when is that of Obi coming out? When is that of Atiku coming out? Okay, so for me, I am not quarreling with the fact that there is a song to drive home the point of the shortcoming of a particular candidate. What I'm quarreling with is that it should be equally distributed. So we should have a song.
So if it is equally distributed,
Yes.
is that
Yes,
is that how it's supposed to be in a democratic setting like this?
Yes, that's the fairness, the freeness. You see, election is not what just happens on election day. Election is what happens before the election. Even the primaries, we talk about internal democracy. Because what has happened is that all the political parties, they have filtered the candidates. What it is a remnant of what the political parties have chosen that they are now giving to Nigerians to choose from. Remember that once upon a time, you thought somebody like the vice president would have been the candidate. Didn't you think so? And you would have said that, wow, that's a brilliant one. So if Nigerians were given the opportunity to decide, they would have picked somebody different. But we have forgotten. So what they have done is that the cartel or the aristocratic few have, out of all the pool of very brilliant people that we had, reduced it. They've filtered out the main people and brought this to us. So we now have the choice we are choosing from. It's not as choicey as it would have been. And that is why, if you look at the debate about the Electoral Act, many people were saying, why not have direct primaries? Why have indirect primaries? You see, that was a place where we lost the principle of democracy Because the difference between direct primaries and indirect primaries would have changed the entire dynamics of today. If you had direct primaries, it meant that all the members of the political parties will participate in the process of the emergence of a candidate for the party. Okay? So that in itself would have changed the outcome and would have had more qualitative persons to pick from. So we started depleting the principle right from the beginning. So not having done direct primaries, you now have a kind of electoral college where those who are to pick have been determined by the governor. Those who are to be to pick have been determined by the aristocratic, class. Whereas the masses, the people that you use in definition of government, have been left behind in the bus stop. The vehicle has moved. So we are now left with the leftover of the food to choose from.
Okay, now that we are left with the leftover of the food, there is a minute class of persons out there in the conversation space in Nigeria that will tell you 2023 should be about your past achievements, why you were in government, the things you did, your legacies, and all of that. What's your take on this? Should that be what we should use in determining the remnant that is given to us right now? Because
that should be one of the things. That should not be all. Because you see, if you look at Buhari, I supported Buhari. I was a candidate in this. As far as APC is concerned, with all sense of humility, I will tell you that I popularized APC in 2005 in Warri, because I contested that election as a member representing Warri Constituency 1 in the Delta State House of Assembly. And at that time, APC was not popular in Delta State. Now, I genuinely believed that Buhari was going to deliver us. Why? I looked at his antecedents. I remember the time of war against indiscipline, and like many Nigerians, we had a picture that during that time, he was, working with Idi Agbon to ensure that there was discipline. And at that point in time, we were looking for discipline because the corruption had reached high heavens. And so many Nigerians used the antecedent of Buhari, say he is a military general. We need somebody who is going to be aggressive towards the insecurity that we have, somebody who has a background in the military, somebody who has a background in discipline. So we use all those to think. You see, we can think as much as we can, but we can never tell the outcome. If I knew that Buhari was going to be this level of abysmal failure, I would not have. But I just used 1 + 1, 2 + 2. That this is a man that has been wanting to come in. That he has done this, he has done this, he has done this, and done that, and done that, and done that. In fact, before 2015, when you call Buhari, the image you get is a disciplinarian, a war general. Many of us, even the press, said we want a war general to take over this country and ensure that these terrorists are dealt with. Who else would you want? Is he a civilian to deal with a war situation? So, if you look at people's antecedents alone, we have to pray to God too, to guide us, to guide our decision, because nobody really knows.
Okay, you want to say something briefly before we start taking calls?
Well, thank you very much. As a matter of fact, if you have to look, like what Israeli said, if you have to look at the antecedent alone, you miss the mark. We've seen that, though to some persons, the antecedent really helps.
So what are those key things that we need to look at? Is it the rhetoric? Because if you look at the rhetoric, you'll be carried away with what some of the...
If I can say something, see,
yes.
I was at the MBA conference. I listened to the 3 major candidates. In fact, 4 of them. You see, I wept. Why? Because I took each of their answers. There was none of them that had anything different to tackle the challenges that we had.
Not even Obi.
Not even Obi.
But you people applauded him now.
Look, let me tell you something. You see, there is a kind of euphoria out there. And that was what happened with Buhari. Buhari's time, we were saying even if it was NEPA bill, let him bring. And that craze has started again. Have you looked at Obi's program? How can somebody tell you that in his 4 years or 8 years, he will move you from consumption to production. Right now in Nigeria, you and I know that the biggest problem we have is insecurity. Now, there is no degree you have in the world in economics that can turn Nigeria around if you don't first of all fix the issue of insecurity and make small and medium scale businesses thrive. You see, you are a doctor being called. There's a critical accident that has happened to Nigeria. You are a doctor being called to administer treatment to Nigeria. The first thing is the first aid. You see, if people are able to move freely, for example, I am a person that wants to study, but I'm not able to move around. I've kept to myself because I've seen that the roads are not safe. The farmers who are supposed to bring food to the market are afraid to go. The women are being raped every day. So these are the first things. It's only a madman that goes to bed when his roof is on fire. The first thing is, how do I want to fix the ease of doing business in Nigeria? Businesses have run away out of Nigeria because people are afraid. People are running out every day because of the killings. So that is the first thing. First, you can't be talking about moving from consumption to production. The first thing I expect anybody to do is to say, tell me how it's going to make